Hey, good morning, folks. This is Midnight Brands. Apologies for starting late, lost track of time. Today is Wednesday, May 17th, 2023, and I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it here with prep. So to begin, decent, not the greatest thing in the world, but there's some econ data here today, mostly around housing type of information. Be interesting to see kind of what and how all this plays out with all the rates obviously being jacked up and whatnot. So should be an interesting one on that front. We'll jump right into things. SVXY and some of the other ETFs here we're gonna push through. Not a whole lot of stuff's changed as usual with SVXY. It's been pretty steady, pretty even. Not a whole lot of stuff here. Would note that you could just combine this stuff here into one zone as opposed to trading it as kind of three separate pieces. It's up to you. Candidly, would be watching to see where it's at, where VIX is at, etc. Right now, it's kind of pushing up a little bit. It's getting close to this trend strength reference point zone. But if we do come down to this level here, just keep an eye on, see what happens. And if we clear this weekly trend guide reversal block there, I mean it's pretty wide sailing up until we get to the zone above that, which isn't marked because it didn't make sense to include it with where things were at last night. But if it does clear that kind of WTGR1 and full ADRs, then it's kind of clear sailing up until we get to monthly trend guide reversal, weekly trend guide reversal to near 7140. So that is it for SVXY. For VIX, jumping into it, did get a good push through the 20-day yesterday, and today it's faded off a bit from here. Last night it's down near 1760, 1770, kind of in that block area there, so down near this trend guide block. So we'll see if it wants to continue this trend, or if we're going to set up for something else. But in general, pretty clean zones here. The one zone we did add was this structure, yesterday's high and weekly trend guide off of that block there. The other part I'd mention is you could go ahead and just combine kind of this weekly trend guide too, and that'd be weekly photo ADRs there, as opposed to treating it as a div, so close to each other there. You're calling how you want to do that, but I'd probably just be watching this as one block here. The big one to me is going to be just continuing to watch, like if we do decide to push up, like how do we interact with this monthly trend guide 50-day. It's definitely had a bunch of interactions recently. It's rejected off of them kind of each time if we look down there. So in any event, VIX pretty clean on all those ones there. SPY, not too bad either. In this one, I was noting that you could just go ahead and combine the trend guide reversal combo high volume node with the weekly trend guide and last week's lows there. You could treat them as separate, but to me it just made sense to combine it. They're pretty damn close to each other. The other thing I was noting is that here at this 405.40, 405.13, just expanded up a bit to capture, from the supply demand gap fill. Expanded up a little bit just to grab the weekly trend guide too, and kind of go that path. Full ADRs will not be here. SPY's moved up. It's 411.78. So I mean it's pushing up kind of this trend strength reference point zone here. Trend guide actually is kind of what it's pushing on at the moment there. So pretty clear outside of those pieces though. I mean it's just got to decide what it wants to do. It's been kind of an interesting balance there the last handful of days, so maybe we'll get a break someday. We'll see. Qs, I left this on here, man. Like, what amazing! Like that ABCD completed to the tick. And today, that same area is supply demand trend guide reversal in yesterday's highs, obviously. So pretty pretty big zone there in our eyes. In any event, we got this kind of nice div up there above. And then in our minds, we just combine this zone 1, zone 2 with monthly trend guide reversal, weekly trend guide reversal 2. Just treat that as one as opposed to trying to break it up into 2. If we do start pushing up there, then you're going to go grab your full ADRs and probably more. Although full ADRs probably move up since we're gapping and starting to push above this inside block here. And on this one, we actually left it exactly as is. We were commenting elsewhere that this is pretty wide, like generally speaking. It's almost a buck, but it's so inside that test it maybe from above, then it sets up. I don't really want to be playing stuff in the middle there on that one. So I think that's really it for Q's. Nothing else to add on that one. I think we missed one of the index ones, so we're gonna have to we'll probably skip whichever one didn't get copied, even though we included and ran through all of them. In any event, ES. So holding this trend line, kind of here on the daily. It's obviously much shorter one here. Really similar one here though on this block here on the 60-minute as well as on the daily. So really just kind of thinking of all three of these as inside zones. I mean, we've just been in this area for a decent amount of time now. At the moment we are actually pushing up into this trend guide weekly pivot point combo point of control. There's naked VA in there. So just kind of, we're pushing up into this block here. There's also a daily anchored VWAP in there from May 10th, so just a little bit ago, but it's inside. Now that said, there are a bunch of things that are up near their upper edge zones at the moment. Let me pull that over here real quick. So I mean, we do have Netflix, SMH, Soxel, Tesla. Kind of a number of things up near their upper edge of their R1, as it were. In fact, UUP is way past its R1. It's pushing up into what would effectively be a R2. So it is interesting. Need to see kind of some other parts there to be really excited about trying the short there. It's worth a shot, I guess. I mean, keep a small risk, but anyway, be really kind of watching some of these other zones up above. Certainly this one here, you've got your full ADRs, weekly trend guide, and definitely you can see a lot of structure through here. A couple of weekly IB stat highs, definitely a lot of pokes there, so it's supply and demand high for that matter. Underneath here, this would be, still is, this 50 days continue to rise up like we kind of expected. Is now coming in to join monthly and weekly trend guide zones or pivots, along with bottom edge of supply and demand. It's going to keep rising there, so that's a pretty big one underneath. Though if we decide to blow through there and really push, then we get into this bigger one here with this daily anchored, weekly anchored VWAP coming back here from this block. So pretty big one there. And if we decide to lose all that, then there's a really big block down at annual pivot, quarterly pivot, weekly trend guide 3, gap fill, and weekly fulls all the way down there near 40-50-ish. NQ, pretty clean in general terms. It I mean, you got, it's kind of really good spots up there. Do actually come back and you get your 52-week high here, so this would be the August highs from last year if we decide to push all the way up. It's also the Tier 1 OPEX cheats, weekly full ADRs, Tier 3 daily cheat. I don't know that it'll be today if we even get up this high. Like, we had a pretty good rejection yesterday, as you saw on the cues there at that block, and today, that block here today is trend guide reversal supply and demand, etc. So it, let me zoom in on that. So that block there may decide to stop us from going up to grab any of these higher time frame pieces here. And of course, before we even got up there, you've got this nice block here with weekly photo, naked VA, but also an NVPOC in there as well. So I don't know there's really a lot else to say on this lower one here. Certainly this would be a big area if we decide to come down to this 13,250, 280-ish level, because you've got the look there with 20-day EMA and low weekly anchored VWAP from April 28th, and it's also the combo point of control right here at this block on NQ. So overall not bad, pretty straightforward in my mind on that one. RTY, just really kind of the thing that got adjusted here is added yesterday's IB low, gap fill, and the overnight low is the zone. That was not something that was included. It's also gap fill because of where it closed yesterday, but it's definitely been pushing its getting to the upside of this trend guide weekly pivot swing anchored VWAP zone here now, and it's continuing to try and push. So this is a good one there. I think the other parts to call out is combine this here, this 1775, this weekly trend guide, high weekly anchored VWAP, combo high volume node, gap fill, photo ADR. Just combine that all into one zone as opposed to treating it as a zone in a div. And I think that's really kind of it. Like, to me, that's definitely an interesting one there, just kind of looking left, but the block above it, you definitely have got a bunch of interactions off of that MPP zone there. In fact, this one, we couldn't even get all the way up to it. We rejected kind of that combo high volume node there, like we did here, tick for ticket there. So this zone here would probably be of more interest if we decide to shoot through some of these things, including the look right there at the 20-day EMA week. 20-day EMA, daily anchored VWAP, etc. I have a feeling we missed. Which one did we miss? We must have missed CL. Nope, we missed GC. Okay, well, we're gonna go back and look at that one. Okay, so YM, I'm not gonna add a lot in here. It's just kind of one of those. It's not overly exciting on any parts. It's pushing up into 33,200 now, so it's rising a little bit. There really is a lot of space though. If we do clear this trend guide, maybe we clear it and then do an early kind of retest, and then go back and kind of take out all this stuff up here, put bears in a lot of pain. That would be an interesting one, is again if we do kind of the trend guide from above on this YM. Let's see, what all would it be? R1 is trend guide for everything but NQ. NQ kept its trend guide reversal being R1. So yeah, I don't really think there's a whole lot else to say here on YM. So we're just gonna go ahead and pull up and look at CL, and then we'll go over and grab GC real quick because I somehow forgot to include that. Okay, so CL, nice push overnight there on the trend guide, what is now photo ADRs, and kind of held this 7004, 7044 spot there. Definitely trying a little bit of a higher low. You could definitely draw an ABCD here. 69, call it 50, 71, 75, down to 70. So good put, ABCD type of thing on that one. Good kind of push. And CL is continuing. It's up near 7116. So it's still trying to get into and flirt with this zone here with trend guide reversal, weekly pivot, daily anchored VWAP, and combo point of control. So pretty nice on CL here. It be interesting to see if we do get this 20-day coming down in here to join. And it looks like right now, yeah, the daily anchor VWAP, the look setup is actually a little bit higher, near like 74-ish block. So I don't know. I think CL's kind of a nice one. It would have been nice to have been up a little bit earlier and caught this trend guide block here. So, but whatever. In any event, the other part I will add is down here. You know, could choose to split these two. It would seem pretty wide to treat that as one big zone. But in any event, we added this this block here for weekly trend guide reversal, gap fill, combo high volume node. And like I said, since I thought we copied over GC, but I guess we didn't. Let's just look at it real quick live. So it definitely came down, you know, like we've been saying, and grabbed that 50-day daily anchored VWAP here. Daily anchored VWAP, it's just missed, hasn't quite touched yet, but it's come pretty damn close to it for sure. And so, do we come back down, maybe grab and grab trend guide reversal, kind of div through it and collect those pieces and then keep going? I don't know, maybe. But you can see, I mean, this area here is just, it's also been interesting just with, you know, all these wicks that we've seen back through this block and area here. So, it wouldn't be too bad actually if we came back, if we came down and grabbed that 1975, kind of retested that prior all-time high and then decided to reverse off the 50-day. I think there'd be a lot of reaction off of it, really. But I'll have to watch and keep a close eye on it here today. Otherwise, zones are pretty clean, pretty straightforward. This is no longer actually weekly pivot full ADRs because it's continued to fade. So full ADRs has moved down into this div block here with common point of control, gap fill, tier 2 daily cheat, and it is now full ADRs because photo ADRs has slid down into trend guide 20-day EMA. And we've got our monthly pivots, tier 1 daily cheats, supply and demand, swinging, couple of swinging anchored VWAPs in there. And then trend strength in here, along with weekly trend guide lower. So overall, again, pretty straightforward with GC. Just gonna note those zones here real quick. Hopefully when I put it into light shot mode here like this, it doesn't get lost in the YouTube stream. Really stinks that I lost this. I could have sworn that I copied and pasted it over into the room there, but that's alright. Because I know I typed this up, PATH for prior all-time highs, gap fill. Okay, and that is it. I don't see any questions in here, so hopefully everybody has a great one, and we will catch y'all later. Thank you very much. Bye now.